Hey guys, welcome back to the CTE Companion. Today we have 10 fights that are better on paper. Starting this list off, we have MVP versus Wonderboy Thompson. This was the fight that inspired me to make this list. I saw MVP talking about it on a podcast and I completely agree with him. On paper, this fight is a battle between two high-level strikers, and that ultimately kind of becomes the problem. I imagine that it would look a lot like them standing at range in their karate stances, bouncing back and forth. I could see maximum 15 punches being thrown around, just kind of feinting at range, trying to find angles, trying to get the other to bite. Both of them are counter punches. Both of them prefer when the other guy is closing the distance, is coming forward. If you're the kind of person like myself that likes to analyze the outside foot battle and really just see high level chess when it comes to striking, you might find this one entertaining. But if you're just looking for someone to bleed, then this really isn't going to be a fight that kind of person would find entertaining. And in a similar light, up next we have MVP versus Israel Adesanya. I could see this one being a lot like the Romero versus Adesanya fight, where they're kind of at range. It might be a little bit less boring because at least they would both be moving. I imagine neither of them would just stand still like Yoel Romero did. I mean, it would be the same thing, as in both of them would be looking for someone to go first, looking to find their counters, looking to use their long range weapons, just kind of not being gun shy, but looking to make their reads, and neither of them would really want to go first. These guys are both at their best when the other person is coming forward, when the other person's making mistakes, when they make their reads. If either of these first two fights were 25 minutes, I could see it being one of the worst fights of the year, one of the most disappointing fights of all time. Over 15 minutes, the action might pick up a little bit. They would have less time to give away rounds. I I imagine all three of these guys would be comfortable giving away a round in a 5-round fight. So it might start off very boring. There could be in all of them, I'm gonna kind of combine them all together. In all of them, a lot like the MVP versus Jared Cannonier fight, there might be each round one big moment, one big explosion where the guy thinks that they found their timing or their distance. But unlike that fight, I don't think there will be the knockdowns like there were. It'll be a lot of emoting at range, a lot of dapping up, like Wonderboy versus Kevin Holland. There would be no bad blood between any of these guys. There's just no real reason that any of these fights would be all that entertaining at all. Next up, we have Arnold Allen versus Lerone Murphy, a battle of two Brits. I could see this fight happening on a fight night. I know that it's probably going to be Lerone Murphy versus Mavsar in London in March. However, next time they go to London, next time they go to England, I could see, especially if Mavsar wins that fight, Lerone Murphy's the kind of guy to fight once a year. Arnold Allen's coming off of a very back and forth war where he took a lot of damage against Gene Silva. I could see these two being booked for the next time that they go to England. And I just don't think that this would be that entertaining of a fight. If you've noticed, there's a bit of a theme. High level strikers. I don't think the two high level strikers make for that entertaining of a fight. They want to make their reads. They want to be technical. A lot like O'Malley versus Yadong. They're not going to be that entertaining. They're too worried about the other person's power, about their sharpness, about finding reads. These first three have all been fights where it's two counter strikers, so neither of them are going to want to go first. Maybe Arnold Allen will bring it a little bit. I don't see this fight being as boring as the first two, but I don't think that it would be that entertaining. Both these guys, good grappling, good striking, well-rounded, very, very high-level fights. Neither of these guys suck, and that's kind of the problem. I don't see either of them really risking being knocked out. Maybe Allen will bring the pressure a little bit. This fight would probably be a 5-round main event. Maybe in the third or fourth, the pace might pick up, but think that we would be in for 2 or 3 really boring rounds. Next up, we have Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler in the big 2-6. I don't think that this fight would be any good at all. Conor McGregor, beyond washed at this point, so slow when he's hitting pads. He uploaded that video sparring last week. Did not look good, did not look flowy, did not look good at all. Michael Chandler, unable to have a bad fight, but I think that this one would be better on paper in the way that it would just be disappointing to see McGregor in the state he currently is. He's been out of the octagon for so long. He's gone through so many problems. He pulled out last time because of a toe injury. Prime Conor McGregor is not doing that. I think that he would be a shell of himself. And I think anyone who is a Conor McGregor fan would just be so sad to see the state that he's currently in. Anyone who's a Conor McGregor hate watcher would love this one. I'm sure there's some people who would love to see him get his ass beat by Michael Chandler, and I honestly think that's how this goes at this point. I know Michael Chandler doesn't even try to win fights. He lost to Charles Oliveira, and then he just kind of gave up on ever winning the UFC championship. He just wants to have entertaining fights. I think walks down Conor McGregor, and it would just be a sad sight to see overall. Next up, we have Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. This fight is a little bit different. This fight is better on paper, in my opinion, because I think that this is going to be an awesome fight. I think it's going to be super entertaining. I just think it's going to be a one-sided domination by Max Holloway, and it's going to be very depressing seeing him knock out Charles Oliveira. And that's why I think that this is going to be better on paper. I know people are very excited for it, but really I feel like we're going to walk away feeling worse about it than we did at the start. I feel like I'm going to be more sad seeing Oliveira get knocked out than I am going to be happy for Max Holloway. I do think that this is going to be an absolute war. I think that that Holloway finishes it in the second or the third. And I just really don't want to see Oliveira get knocked out again. And that's why I think that this fight is going to be better on paper than it is in reality. Next up, we have a fight that's happening tonight. Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Huffy. I have this one just being a kind of boring technical fight, a lot like the ones at the beginning, but I also think that the clearest path to victory is Fiziev winning or using his wrestling. And I just think that this fight could be a lot of dancing around at range, throwing some strikes. Fiziev has very good kicking defense, so I think he's going to catch the kicks of Mauricio Huffy and then take him down. And I could see this one just not being anywhere as entertaining as people think it is. I don't think the same thing for Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis. I think that that one is going to be very entertaining, but I think that this fight will be a little bit of a disappointment, mostly because of the grappling of Fiziev and mostly because these two guys, again, are two people who are primarily outside fighters, not the most action-packed, not the most strikes per minute, more defensively sound. And I just think that when two fighters like that collide, it doesn't always turn out as entertaining as their previous fights against people who are more willing to engage. Speaking of boring, we got Khamzat Chimaev versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. I think that this fight will not be all that competitive. I see another 50 or 25 minutes of half guard and crucifix from Khamzat Chimaev. Just absolutely boring fight. I think that Khamzat really is just going to be so dominant. I think that all of his fights are going to be boring for the next while as long as he comes in healthy and is able to grapple the way that he has been known to grapple. I don't have to say much about this, I don't think. We saw what happened against DDP, and I just see more of the same against Hernandez. Up next, we have Alex Pereira versus Carlos Ulberg. Just another striker matchup, two counter strikers. I'm sure you guys get the idea by now. This one's going to be kind of boring, have people at range. I'm sure Alex Pereira will knock him out in the third or the fourth, but I think you're going to have to get through 15, 20 minutes of just absolutely nothing to get there. I don't see Ulberg engaging. Alex Pereira, he likes the pressure in the later rounds once he finds his reads. I could see this one being a very exciting knockout, a highlight reel that gets replayed over and over again, but getting there is going to be painful. This is a fight that might be better watching the highlights than it will be live. Second last, we have the main event of UFC Seattle in March. Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer. I think Izzy's going to be able to be technical, use his feints, be at range. Joe Pyfer will probably engage. So we're either going to see a very boring Izzy masterclass or Izzy being knocked out again. Double-edged sword, in my opinion. If it is entertaining, it's going to be a lot like the Oliveira Holloway, where it just feels bad watching Izzy get knocked out again. And if Izzy wins, then it's going to be a boring technical decision. So I really think there's kind of no winning as a fan in this fight. And last but not least, we have Corey Sandhagen versus Sean O'Malley. I've seen people been calling for this for a very long time. on paper, amazing fight. I really, really, really want to see it. I really think that on paper that this is one of the biggest fight at bantamweight that doesn't involve the title. But it's just going to be them dancing around at range. Sean O'Malley just is coming off a boring performance against Yadong, and it's going to be the same thing where it's going to be them dancing around at range and Corey trying to implement his grappling. I think Corey Sandhagen has a big BJJ advantage and the wrestling advantage, so if he might grapple O'Malley and make it a really boring fight, or it's going to be them just switching stances, feinting around at range, trying to find an angle, trying to throw some front kicks, feinting with that hip, pretending to kick each other, just landing the jab. I just don't see a world where this is a really entertaining fight. As always, thank you so much for watching. The recap of UFC 325 will be out tomorrow, Sunday. Hope everyone has a great day, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.